Welcome back to Tabletop Paper Company's Friday Finance. We are yet again counting down our top 5 cards that have risen in price this week. Shout out to everyone who's been liking and commenting on these videos. It's your engagement with these posts that's helping us grow, so I couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Starting us off at the number 5 slot is Thief of Blood. This 1/1 for 6 has flying, and as Thief of Blood enters the battlefield, remove all counters from all permanents. Thief of Blood enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each counter removed this way. Unlike cards like Spike Cannibal that transfer counters to the card, Thief of Blood simply removes all of them and gets that many +1/+1 counters, so it can remove -1/-1 counters, lore counters, any kind of counter. This card is going up in price because -1/-1 counters are a big part of Lorwyn Eclipsed, and this card perfectly combats that. There are 2 cards at the number 4 slot. It's Crumbling Ashes and Persistent Constrictor. Crumbling Ashes is an enchantment that lets you destroy target creature with a -1/-1 counter on it at the beginning of your upkeep. And Persistent Constrictor says at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, they lose 1 life and you put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 creature they control, and it has Persist. The deck lists for the Lorwyn Eclipsed Blight Curse Precon has been revealed this week, and neither of these cards were in it, and they're great inclusions, so players have been buying them to include in their future precons. The deck list for Dance of the Elements has also been released, and I made a speculation video about cards that I think are going to go up in price. There are some wild ones, so check that out at the end of this video. Next up is Sakashima the Imposter. This 3/1 for 4 enters the battlefield and you choose a creature in play. If you do, Sakashima comes into play as a copy of that creature, except its name is still Sakashima the Imposter, it's still legendary, and gains pay 4, return Sakashima the Imposter to its owner's hand at the end of the turn. This card has been skyrocketing because how well it works with Avatar Karuk. Avatar Karuk has an exhaust ability, which means you can only use it once, and you waterbend for 20 and take an extra turn. If you copy Avatar Karuk with Sakashima the Imposter, you can use the ability on Sakashima and then pay for it to return it to its hand and then play it again, targeting Avatar Karuk again. So the exhaust ability completely resets because it's as if Sakashima is a completely new card when you replay it. Coming in at the number 2 slot is Phyrexian Devourer. This card's language is a little bit outdated, but it's a 1/1 for 6 that has been eroded to say when Phyrexian Devourer's power is 7 or greater, sacrifice it. And you can exile the top card of your library to put X +1/+1 counters on Phyrexian Devourer, where X is the exiled card's mana value. It's also on the reserved list. This card has been going up in price because of how well it plays in pre-modern. On the surface, it looks like a pretty terrible card, but the key to its success is Fling. When its power becomes 7 or greater and you have to sacrifice it, that trigger goes on the stack, which means that you can keep activating the ability to reveal more cards, increasing its power, and then you can fling for lethal. Magic cards go up in price every single week, but if you're not subscribed, you won't know which ones to check your collection for. And any engagement like a like or a comment really helps us grow. And at the number 1 slot, it's Nest of Scarabs. This 3-drop enchantment says whenever you put 1 or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create that many 1/1 insect creature tokens. This card has been skyrocketing, and for good reason. It's only been printed 1 time, and is a 2-card infinite combo with Blowfly Infestation, which has been reprinted in the Blight Curse Commander deck. Blowfly Infestation says whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, if it had a -1/-1 counter on it, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. All you need to do for this infinite combo is have both of these cards out on the battlefield and put a lethal amount of -1/-1 counters on a creature. When you put the -1/-1 counter on that creature, it will trigger Nest of Scarabs, creating a 1/1 insect. Then it will trigger Blowfly Infestation because a creature unalived with a -1/-1 counter on it, and you can target your newly created insect with your next -1/-1 counter from Blowfly Infestation, and you'll have infinite ETB triggers, leave the battlefield triggers, and unalive triggers. And there are tons of cards that you can insert into this combo to make it lethal. We've got a new finance video for you every Friday, but if you want to track the price of your cards every day of the week, check out MTG Stocks. Creating an account is free and you can customize the cards that you're watching.